As dusk falls over Tokyo in 1888, a sorcerer-like fog engulfs the city, casting shadows and blurring the glow of gas lamps along the streets. Yoshichi and Sansaki, two dock workers, stand on a wharf overlooking Tokyo Bay. Above them, bats flutter, heralding an eerie night. The fog cloaks everything in silence, fostering a sense that something foul is about to happen. Nearby, a hut beckons poor laborers needing shelter, though the accommodation remains limited. Sansaki muses on Tokyo's transformation since its designation as the capital, with foreigners streaming into the city over the years. As they talk, Sansaki suddenly pulls Yasukichi back. A huge bat swoops just past his head, leaving Yasukichi stunned. He questions whether foreigners are like monsters, with strange tales surrounding them. The fog thickens further, chilling their spines. Suddenly, a magnificent coach appears, drawn by 6 black horses. An aristocratic aura surrounds the scene as the coach swerves sharply into the mist, vanishing beyond the wharf's edge. When it stops, all is still. The driver remains quiet, yet the presence is commanding and ominous. A shadowy figure emerges from the coach and moves toward the ship docked nearby. The man's presence strikes awe, his eyes flare crimson within the thickening fog. His silent walk belies an eerie power, leaving the dock workers both fascinated and fearful. Just as he vanishes into the ship's shadows, the mysterious fog thickens once more, shrouding the city. In another part of Tokyo, under a thin haze, dawn approaches. Shiro, a young man with a zeal for training, practices diligently with his sword. The ministry's efforts to modernize Japan have left traditional martial arts on the brink of obscurity, yet Shiro continues to honor these ancient practices. One morning, Shiro, while running through Lower Nibuncho, observes Daigo, a swordsman who swiftly uses his bamboo sword to defeat a group of yakuza menacing a young girl. Daigo's powerful stance and mastery captivate Shiro, who feels both admiration and a yearning to deepen his own abilities. Shiro joins Daigo on a walk past a series of row houses until they reach a British trader's vacated residence, which Daigo uses for his martial training. Despite Shiro's eagerness, Daigo thoughtfully points out the importance of internal training over mere physical prowess, cautioning that Shiro must learn to protect himself even without a weapon. In that moment, Shiro remembers Daigo's prowess when facing the yakuza. The memory is fresh. 10 days prior, Daigo rescued a girl from a gang with impressive skill. Shiro contemplates the need for strength and resolve, and his determination to improve grows stronger. As they approach the house, a girl's scream pierces the air. Shiro rushes towards the sound, discovering a group of yakuza harassing the young girl's family. The tension mounts when Saigo Shiro, their leader, demands they release her. Seeing the situation, Shiro steps forward, employing a fighting stance inspired by traditional martial arts. As he faces the yakuza, his heart races with the responsibility and urgency of the moment. Shiro discards his sandals and jeans into a fighting posture. Opposite him, one of the yakuza takes a stance, ready to clash. Shiro's simple yet effective approach, deeply rooted in traditional techniques, sparks an intense encounter, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. The story unfolds with Tatsu, a formidable yakuza, commanding a fight between him and Shiro. In an intense moment, Shiro charges at Tatsu with multiple précis strikes. The air is filled with tension as Shiro lands a thundering blow, sending Tatsu sprawling. This fierce engagement captures the attention of all onlookers, marking a significant moment in their encounter. The yakuza leader, Daigo, who had anticipated stepping into the fray if needed, instead appreciates Shiro's prowess. Tatsu had underestimated Shiro, expecting a mere troublemaker instead of a real match. Daigo reassures everyone, signaling the end of the confrontation. As spectators move away, Daigo speaks to Shiro, asking about his technique and complimenting his hidden skills. Shiro reveals that his martial arts practice had been self-taught. This adds to the intrigue about his background. Daigo, sensing Shiro's potential, decides to involve him in future endeavors. Shiro departs with gratitude but remains wary of his involvement with yakuza affairs. Meanwhile, Daigo continues with his routine, contemplating the martial skills displayed by Shiro. His impression changes the next day as he engages in a duel with Otsuka, a known martial artist within the Shiteno group. Otsuka's hesitation is evident. Daigo easily bests him, showcasing his superior skill. Daigo, composed and direct, encourages friendly competition among students, setting a standard in the dojo. After his match, Daigo meets with Chizuru. Her unease is apparent. Daigo wonders about her father's request which he had refused. Chizuru's world is one of affluence and expectations, being part of the House of Peers. Her father's match suggestion had been more political than sporting, and Daigo's refusal leaves Chizuru caught between duty and personal feelings. As Daigo reflects, the story shifts to Chizuru's younger sister, Akane, and her friend Takako. They rope Shiro into a plan to explore an old mansion. Akane is spirited and insistent, while Takako's curiosity is piqued by rumors of a valuable millet painting housed there. Daigo, initially reluctant, agrees to accompany them out of a sense of responsibility. At the ominous mansion, the group hesitates to enter. Shiro eventually leads the way, tension thick in the air. Inside, the dusty and neglected atmosphere unsettles them. Takako directs Shiro towards where she believes the painting is kept, sparking renewed curiosity. Upon reaching the designated room, they unveil the painting only to find it ruined beyond recognition. Shock swiftly turns to panic, especially for Takako and Akane. Amidst their distress, a bat descends upon them, creating further chaos. Shiro, despite his skills, is momentarily thrown off guard by the bizarre interruption. Daigo arrives in the midst of the confusion, managing to swat away the bat and stabilize the situation. His practical calmness contrasts with the earlier frenzy and demonstrates his leadership capability. As things settle, Akane expresses gratitude, revealing the effective dynamic within the group. Daigo's comforting presence restores a sense of safety and order. This excursion becomes a catalyst for the characters, especially for Shiro, who is now intertwined with Akane's family and the Yakuza underworld. His journey, marked by unexpected alliances and challenges, will continue as the plot thickens around him. From the shadows, a voice emerges, full of mockery and disappointment. The figure reveals itself to be someone who has been watching the confrontation unfold. As the moonlight bathes the room, Daigo, the young swordsman, stands face to face with this enigmatic presence. The voice, rich with a foreign accent, expresses admiration for the courage and decorum displayed, traits deeply ingrained in the current generation of warriors. The man in the shadows acknowledges Shiro and Takako, the duo who had intruded upon the stranger's peace. They had heard rumors of this stranger and approached, eager to witness his artistry firsthand. The space they found themselves in seemed like a haven preserved from another era, a dimly illuminated room where shadows danced like whispers caught in the wind. The shadowy figure finally steps forward, the moonlight revealing his hawk-like features, slanted eyes, an aquiline nose, and a mouth curled into a thin smile. There is something altogether unsettling about him, something otherworldly. He introduces himself with a flourish, presenting the chilling name that sends ripples through those present, Count Dracula. Daigo listens, fascinated, while Akane steps forward, introducing herself as Kashiwaba Akane. She mentions her connection to the Ranbeijuku school, where Daigo studies under the tutelage of his grandfather. The Count studies her with interest, acknowledging her presence with a slight nod. Dracula's curiosity piqued, he makes an elegant request, "Out of respect for your skill, allow me to introduce myself properly." With his earlier amusement still evident, Dracula demonstrates his prowess, casting subtle hints of what he is truly capable of. The air is heavy with anticipation, those present can sense an encounter of significance unfolding right before their eyes. Daigo, intruding once again, insists on questioning the presence of such a figure and the distraction he brings. Dracula, unyielding yet courteous, suggests that it is time for them to leave. Daigo hesitates but ultimately complies, urged silently by Akane and Takako. The group steps out into the cold embrace of the night, leaving behind the mysterious figure and his hidden world. As they walk away, Daigo cannot shake the feeling of unease. Something lurks beneath the surface, a mystery not yet unraveled. The young man's mind races, connecting threads, all fueled by the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. The conversation shifts to the astonishing skills displayed during their encounter. Daigo recounts how the Count had effortlessly struck down a bat with his sword, a feat as curious as it is impressive. Takako interjects, questioning the Count's extraordinary reflexes and the peculiarity of the feat, but the most striking revelation is not the act itself but the sensation it imprints on Daigo's young mind. Later, Akane muses over recent events as she sits across from her mother at dinner. A discussion ensues about her father, Minazuki Shuichiro, whose service under the Metropolitan Police Department brought him back into the family fold. The conversation is tinged with memories of the past rebellion, whispers of discontent that shaped their world. In the comforting atmosphere of her home, Akane recalls the tales spun by her father as he navigated the murky waters of shifting allegiances. A decision once made, steeped in blood and honor, lay before her, a path chosen in the tense dawn of Meiji restoration. It's a time of transition, a country caught between shadows and light. Nightfall finds Akane's mind restless, congestion of thoughts colliding in her head. She retires to her room, her heart burdened by the secret she carries and the path she must choose. Her sister, Chizuru, bridges the silence, her voice tinged with curiosity about Daigo and the recent events at the dojo. Chizuru, sensing Akane's inner turmoil, questions her about an earlier request from Daigo that she refused to fulfill. Akane admits to internal struggles, tethered to the expectations of her father's legacy and the pressure of stepping into a role she does not feel ready to inhabit. In a tender moment, Chizuru offers gentle reassurance, urging her sister to reconsider and to trust in her own capabilities. She shares warmth and conviction, a familial bond unspoken yet steadfast. As the evening wears on, their conversation shifts towards the challenges Daigo faces. Rumors ripple throughout the Ranbeijuku, hinting of a formidable opponent known as the Shitenno. It's a name steeped in prowess and tradition, a rival that Daigo must confront head-on if he is to grow and prove himself. Akane resolves to support Daigo, her decision fueled by newfound determination and familial duty. She realizes that both she and Daigo stand at a crossroads, their destinies intertwined. Each step forward is fated, shaped by the forces that govern their world. In the heart of a bustling dojo, a challenge hangs in the air, commanded by the arrogance of a man labeled as servant in ancient terms yet surrounded by an aura of undeniable authority. The students, swayed by this presence, are drawn into the confrontation, eager to witness a test of strength between this man and their master, Isanosuke. Count Dracula, an enigmatic figure, steps into the light with an exasperating grin, dismissing the plea for civility as he faces off against Isanosuke. The dojo becomes the stage for an intense duel of both skill and ideology. Isanosuke, striving to maintain the honor of Ranbeijuku, looks to his students, signaling them to remain calm. Yet, the Count's confidence is intoxicating. "All your martial arts will support your decision," remarks Kashiwabara-san, the dojo supporter, only amplifying the tension. Within moments, the challenge fuels a storm. The crowd erupts as the Count's mocking smile reflects off the polished blade he brandishes. Isanosuke gathers his resolve, aware of the impending clash, and responds to the arrogance before him. As the battle ensues, the clash is beyond mere physicality, it's a contest of will and intellect. The Count's weapon hums in the air, a silent promise of conquest. He toys with the notion of defeat, his eyes glinting with an unnatural, burgundy light. The dojo is captivated by the spectacle, breathless with anticipation of what next transpires. Silence blankets the dojo as the duel reaches its zenith. A deadly exchange transpires between the men, one that is silent yet murderous, a tension only Jigoro Kano can comprehend fully. Suddenly, the tempo breaks with Isanosuke faltering. The clash concludes with a single, chilling realization. Isanosuke admits, no thrust can touch Daigo. The air is thick with emotion as Minazuki Daigo steps into prominence, claiming the attention of the students, torn between duty and respect for their fallen master. A sudden twist in the storyline follows. Chizuru, Daigo's sister, appears, grounding Daigo to the heart of the dojo with familial ties stronger than any sword. Her presence, accompanied by Jigoro's medical knowledge, becomes a lifeline, drawing Daigo out from the shadows of his defeat. A voice from above consoles the students, declaring the outcome, a draw. Juxtaposing the chaos, the Count's voice is disturbingly calm. It is him who now challenges Shiro, observing from the shadows, to a new contest, knowingly carrying the past on his shoulders and harboring hopes of shifting the future. Shiro approaches, grasping the weight of a student's future and a master's legacy. The challenge spirals into discourse, one that transcends mere physical combat into the realm of ideologies. The Count philosophizes about a world crafted anew, liberated from the chains of relentless warfare. He envisions legacy, not through violence, but through enlightenment and preservation. The curt dialogue continues, with Shiro resolute and the Count calculating. Their verbal sparring transcends the ceremonial combat, echoing with the sincerity of belief and the stubbornness of will. I have prepared for this moment, Daigo reflects, suddenly enrobed in cold resolve at his moment of reckoning. Silence is rent by movement. The duel unfurls, an intricately woven dance of blows, a ceremony of discipline and instinct. The Count's prowess is intimidating, relentless, his sword an extension of his will. Daigo, though not unskilled, missteps, and a bold thrust from the Count finds its mark, casting Daigo to the floor, wounded. With a cry, Chizuru rushes forward. Daigo finds solace in her presence, aware of her medical studies. Her swift hands and steady gaze become his anchor. Together with Jigoro, she ensures Daigo's immediate safety. As the battle's dust settles, messages of alliance and loyalty abound, weaving the tapestry of an evolving era where allies and adversaries find renewed roles. Jigoro finds an unexpected partner in Shiro, and their shared history intertwines with the era's need for unity in the face of daunting change. In the aftermath, a deep bond takes root, a commitment to healing. With reinforced conviction and camaraderie, Jigoro reaches out for both the injured Daigo and the battered dojo, securing their futures against the mysteries of newfound alignments. Count Dracula's silhouette lingers, an indelible imprint on the lives interwoven by fate. He leaves behind questions and pathways to a world reimagined, carving new futures on the brink of a shifting age. Nestled in Daigo's recuperation is a reflection, a yearning resolve to rise anew, with fire in his soul and a promise in his heart. The eventful encounter destined for legend shapes lives, echoing with the courage to redefine legacies that hold a nation enthralled. The night settles, yet the story awakens anew, unfurling as an eternal narrative of growth and gallantry. Daigo is determined to keep his composure, persistently reassuring his mother, Seo, that he will find work. As financial stress looms, Seo has been sewing to earn extra money. One night, as they try to rest, a mysterious knock disrupts the quiet, prompting Daigo to answer the door. Standing outside is a striking figure who introduces himself as Count Dracula. The Count's unexpected visit leaves Daigo and Seo bewildered. Initially suspicious, Daigo is challenged by the Count's admission, "You remind me of a Japanese samurai I met 400 years ago." The revelation stuns Daigo. The Count speaks of a man named Minazuki Shuichiro, a warrior with a familiar fighting style. Curiously captivated, Daigo invites the Count inside, settling into a room with tatami mats for deeper conversation. The Count brings forth items that belong to Minazuki, a dagger in a vermilion sheath and some hair tied with string. Handing the dagger to Daigo, he comments on its familiarity. Strangely, the dagger's once vibrant appearance has succumbed to rust. The Count recounts meeting Minazuki during the Turkish army's invasion of Wallachia, centuries ago. Daigo, intrigued, listens intently, questioning the historical claim but knowing he cannot fully dismiss it. The Count delves into the tale of the Wallachian War against the Turks. The grim scene unfolds as captives are impaled on poles, instilling dread and horror. In the chaotic brutality, Minazuki Shuichiro had managed to save Count Dracula, refraining from delivering a fatal blow, a decision that impacted both their fates. The Count shares how Minazuki pierced him 3 times, each strike leaving indelible scars of pain and reluctance. Dracula continues his tale, revealing a personal connection to Minazuki. After recovering from his wounds, Dracula returned to seek out Minazuki, finding him as a humble villager in retirement. The family had relocated to a fishing village next to the Bosporus. Dracula narrates that Minazuki felt an unusual pulling sensation, as if his essence was being drawn from his body. Despite the passage of centuries, their destinies remained intertwined. Amidst the conversation, the Count drinks sake with Daigo. Rather than being a mere gathering of mismatched individuals, this meeting reveals more profound ties and promises. The Count graciously delivers a final request from Seo's deceased husband, leaving behind an age-old package. Seo, deeply moved, promises to convey regrets and regards to her son. As Dracula departs, a sense of closure and continuity hangs in the air. Meanwhile, an action-packed subplot is in motion with Saigo Shiro nearing Ranbeijuku. Observing the dwelling's shadowy allure, Shiro, accompanied by his master Jigoro, finds himself captivated. As they await, a peculiar bat sighting sparks intrigue. Jigoro's keen senses alert him to something unusual as they notice the bat transforming into a man-like figure, a detail chillingly reminiscent of myths surrounding Dracula. Venturing into the estate under the guise of secrecy, Jigoro and Shiro encounter a surreal tableau. They're drawn into the Kashiwabara mansion, witnessing poignant moments between residents. A mysterious young girl in white alongside another figure in black engage in a seemingly intimate exchange. As Shiro reacts, Jigoro discerns the complex emotions and relationships at play, recognizing Akane and Chizuru as central to the drama unfolding before them. The narrative threads converge, drawing Daigo's personal discoveries and Shiro's adventurous exploits together. Count Dracula's historical recounting weaves seamlessly into present events, bridging past and present through an interlaced tapestry of fate, identity, and redemption. Though centuries apart, the ties between Minazuki Shuichiro and Daigo echo timelessly, underscoring the shared continuum of courage, honor, and resolve. In a dimly lit room, panic grips Chizuru as she witnesses a man transform into a bat and fly away. Shiro, bewildered by the supernatural events unfolding around him, enters to find Kano Jigoro waiting for him. The realization strikes Shiro that his teacher may also be intertwined in this web of darkness. Chizuru pleads for help, desperate to understand what has happened to her friend Akane. Back at the Kashiwabara mansion, Akane has been confined since her collapse. Jigoro gathers everyone, revealing pieces of the mystery. Chizuru expresses her anxiety, recounting what she saw earlier. Jigoro acknowledges the dire situation, hinting at a deeper conspiracy. The moonlight casts an eerie glow as they discuss the strange occurrences. As Jigoro listens, he determines the immediate danger Akane is in. He explains, "A vampire may have taken your sister's blood." This revelation sends a chill down Chizuru's spine. The thought is unimaginable, yet the evidence seems undeniable. The solemn atmosphere thickens as understanding dawns. Within moments, Akane regains consciousness. Her eyes are hollow, her voice an eerie echo of her former self. Despite being awake, there is something haunting about her demeanor. The delicate line between life and death blurs. Chizuru's heart aches with worry for her beloved friend. Jigoro then asserts, "To save your sister, we must destroy the vampire." He speaks with the authority of someone deeply versed in this dark lore. Chizuru's world feels unmoored as she grapples with these revelations. Her mind races, filled with more questions than answers. Shiro watches silently, haunted by his own brush with the vampire. The memory of the puncture wounds prickling at his thoughts. Jigoro guides them through the steps they must take, emphasizing the gravity of their mission. Yet beneath his calm exterior, a storm of fear brews, rooted in the hope they dare not lose. The narrative shifts to Daigo, sitting by his mother's side, struggling with his emotions. The loss is fresh, tangled with strange memories and unanswered questions. He processes the detective's conclusion, pondering the sinister agent behind these horrors. His heart longs for clarity, aching for resolution. A chilling pattern emerges, linking the tragedies that have befallen those around him. The marks on his mother, similar to Akane's, evidence of the vampire's chilling touch. Daigo's thoughts circle back to Count Dracula, rumored to be at the center of this darkness. Together, Chizuru, Shiro, and Daigo unite. Within their shared experiences of fear and loss, a bond is forged against the ancient evil. Jigoro, guiding them with wisdom and resolve, formulates their plan to confront Dracula. It's a story of bravery, of friends fighting not only for survival but to reclaim the lives stolen from them. As the rain pelts down, their resolve hardens. Determined to avenge their loved ones, they acknowledge the looming threat, yet know they must face it. The light of the lantern flickers in the dim room, casting shadows that dance like spirits around them. Their love and hope becomes their guiding star. In this tale of darkness and courage, they are more than victims, they are warriors. Their hearts, bounded by truth and bravery, tremble yet shielded by the enduring strength of friendship. Together, they step into the enveloping night, where danger awaits and destiny calls. The scene unfolds with Otsuka and Daidoji poised for a tense encounter. The night is pierced by the voice of an intruder who boldly challenges the group from the shadows. Otsuka quickly remembers the weapons gifted by Chizuru. A tense silence fills the air as the mysterious figure steps forward. Norizuki, the fourth man among them, combats the shadow with a move called Reppu, yet his attack only grazes the enemy. As the clash intensifies, Norizuki is bested and collapses in a faint. Akane arrives just in time, her presence unsettling yet rescuing, as she beckons the intruder to his feet. An ominous departure follows, leaving the group both relieved and shaky. Akane disappears into the night, leaving only a palpable tension in her wake. Simultaneously, at the Kojimachi residence, rain begins to fall, and a strange calm envelops Daigo, Chizuru, Shiro, and Jigoro. As sleep overtakes them, something sinister transpires. Daigo finds himself tethered to a vision of his late mother, Seo. Her lifeless form suddenly awakens with a crack, her body seizes a knife, and she rises as if reborn. Daigo is gripped by horror as the mother he remembers from nightmares beckons to him, pleading, yet intent on harm. "Mother!" whispers Daigo, feeling trapped between terror and love. Suddenly, hate distorts Seo's face, but the blade she clutches seems to hold a peculiar power over her. The mysterious chain of events breaks as Daigo, driven by filial loyalty and foreboding, moves to secure a sword. A familial battle seems imminent when Jigoro returns, hammer in hand, uncharacteristically hesitant to harm the woman before him. Shiro steps in, facing off against Jigoro with gripping intensity. "It's time to end this," he says, embodying both determination and regret. Chaos erupts, and Daigo is left to collect himself among the fragmented remains of their encounter. The surrounding neighbors begin to stir, leaving Daigo to realize the depth of the disturbance. As the dust settles, Daigo contemplates his mother's fate, the knife still partly resting on her body. Chizuru reveals the protection embedded in the weapon's placement, which served to both confound and shield. As the sun creeps into the sky, Seo is safely conveyed to rest, leaving a jarring sense of unfinished tales and persistent peril. The narrative shifts to the Kano school, where Daigo awakes, memories of the night sharpening into clarity. He hears revelations about his past, steeped in the shadows of vampiric lore. Chizuru, now somberly reflective, recounts the tale of Count Dracula and the terror he invoked historically. It's revealed that an unknown ally may have already defeated those serving the Count, a revelation that sends ripples of hope and disquiet through Daigo. In a contemplative moment, Saigo Shiro expresses inner conflict to Jigoro, feeling both liberated and constrained by the events that unfolded. Chizuru, in her wisdom, reiterates the gravity of their struggle and the cost of their knowledge, urging secrecy to protect them from a fate worse than death. As dawn solidifies their resolve, each character must now confront the shadows cast by their past and the fearsome legend of Dracula that threatens to shape their future. In the heart of a tense confrontation, Jigoro urges Shiro to consider the gravity of the situation. Daigo, calm yet firm, assures them that venturing to become a vampire is neither possible nor desirable. Reflecting on the past, Shiro admits his obsessive ambition to become a vampire, influenced by the people he envied and admired, those who had succumbed to their dark destinies. Jigoro proposes that Shiro's intentions weren't entirely his own, suggesting a manipulation by sinister forces. As Daigo reassures Shiro, the weight of his confession still hangs heavy. "It wasn't my conscious intention," Shiro says, desperate to cleanse himself of the guilt. Chizuru interrupts, reinforcing Daigo's acceptance, while the rest of the group offers their support. A unity forms, their shared horror giving way to a committed resolve. The scene shifts, and Chizuru is once again confronted with a dark past as an unexpected visitor arrives at her doorstep. It's Takako, appearing anxious and burdened by the saga involving her brother, Renta. Desperate for assistance, she reveals a hidden side of Renta's life, the eerie discoveries in his room, a skull, blood-soaked artifacts, and the haunting presence of a live bat. Fear grips her as memories of confronting this bat serve as stark reminders of a dangerous obsession lurking within her brother. Takako confesses her father's lack of concern, the belief that Renta's eccentric behavior was merely the whims of a bookworm. But as she delves deeper, she unveils Renta's secret correspondence with foreign addresses, deepening the mystery and tying it to the ominous name of Dracula. Despite her attempts at understanding, Chizuru can only offer her reassured presence, questioning the reality of the letters and the shadow over Renta. As Takako's story unfolds, Renta's fascination with Transylvania and its dark allure emerge, unsettling Chizuru. She faces the reality of Renta's potential transformation, a fear once dismissed but now glaringly undeniable. Takako's worry spurs Chizuru to swift action, planning to confide in Sensei Kano, a trusted figure amidst the chaos. Later, Chizuru finds herself at the Grand Rokumeikan, an establishment renowned for its European influence and aristocratic gatherings. She is there under unusual circumstances, drawn by a letter and compelled by her need to uncover truth. The setting is luxurious but alien to her, sparking a mix of curiosity and anxiety. As she enters, Chizuru observes the Japanese women attempting to mimic European elegance, but instead, they appear as parodies of sophistication. Their clumsy attempts at European dances only exacerbate the cultural divide, painting an awkward scene that leaves Chizuru feeling out of place. An unexpected encounter with a foreign officer momentarily comforts her, his eyes kind and understanding. But the moment is fleeting, overshadowed by a sense of inadequacy as she confronts the grandeur and the people within. The pervasive sense that she doesn't belong intensifies as the glamorous ballroom overwhelms her senses. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts dramatically as Count Dracula is announced with foreboding reverence. The reaction in the room is visceral, the foreign guests recoil in horror at the mention of his presence. Chizuru stands frozen, her heart pounding to a deafening rhythm as the ballroom, once full of music and laughter, becomes a stage for darker forces. In that trembling silence, the realization settles upon Chizuru and the gathered elites, a realization that the legend has crossed the threshold into their world, challenging their assumptions and fears. Count Dracula's shadow looms large, promising an encounter with the very essence of terror, promising a night that would change everything. Through these intense exchanges, alliances are formed, secrets revealed, and fears confronted. Each character stands on the precipice of darkness and light, choice and fate, as the stirring tale of Meiji Dracula unfolds in haunting layers. In the grand ballroom of Uchiyama Shitacho, Tokyo, an atmosphere dense with anticipation and unease hangs as Count Dracula makes his introduction. The guests remain silent, absorbing the heavy scent lingering in the air, a mixture of incense and something far more sinister. A British diplomat's wife faints, overwhelmed by an inexplicable dread. Chizuru, observing the room, is struck by the eerie pull the Count has on the women around him. Dracula, aware of the tension, speaks with a smooth elegance, his accent only adding to the mystery. He addresses a German officer in the crowd, who bravely challenges him regarding past grievances between their countries. I have never heard such applause and praise bestowed on a Japanese dancer. Not since Rokumeikan opened its doors. I have savored grace. I am grateful, Dracula replies, diffusing the tension effortlessly. Chizuru finds herself drawn toward Dracula despite herself. He elegantly invites her to dance, his movements mesmerizing. She feels the fear dissipate, replaced by a strange fascination. I know who you are. Before we dance, you must promise to protect my identity, she whispers. He agrees, leading her through a dance that seems otherworldly in its perfection. As they move, Dracula demonstrates a surprising gentleness, his touch both commanding and protective. The crowd watches, mesmerized by the duo's fluid grace. Eyes are on Chizuru's newly cut hair, now adorned with a rose whose color seems to deepen with each twirl. Pierre Roti, a writer attending the ball, later describes the scene, the ribbon, taken from the young Japanese lady's hair. The West had not only met the East, but they had become one. The dance brings applause, awed by the ethereal beauty displayed before them. Afterward, Inoue Kaoru, the host, approaches, expressing both delighted admiration and concern for Chizuru's safety. Dracula calms him with assurances, though the underlying tension of his presence remains. Dracula reflects on his past as fireworks burst overhead, reminiscing about his homeland and the constant battle between light and darkness. Their conversation takes a darker turn as Chizuru inquires about her missing sister, Akane. Dracula's demeanor shifts, a shadow crossing his features. Suddenly, the room fills with terrified gasps as Dracula's lack of a shadow becomes apparent. Fear grips the crowd, halting all movement. In the panic, Chizuru drops her handkerchief. Dracula's supernatural ability manifests as he protects her, moving with preternatural speed. Without hesitation, he lifts Chizuru and launches into the night, leaving behind a room buzzing with confusion and fear. Meanwhile, Daigo, a friend with connections in the Yakuza, finds himself feverish and worn as he navigates through the row houses to meet Tatsu. Tatsu, cheerful and filled with camaraderie, offers Daigo a drink and the warmth of companionship, oblivious to the turmoil Daigo has become embroiled in. The atmosphere at the brokerage house turns tense as the Yakuza discuss recent disturbances attributed to a mysterious woman. Daigo, feeling the weight of his secret, hesitates to share his encounters with Dracula. However, Tatsu and his men notice signs of trouble, their concern mounting. As tensions escalate, a plan forms. The Yakuza join Daigo, preparing to face the mysterious threat head-on. Daigo realizes the gravity of involving them in his perilous mission to rescue Chizuru's sister and confront Dracula. Back at the ball, chaos continues to unfold. Shadows grow thicker and the guests struggle to regain composure. Daigo, now armed with a newly acquired determination from his allies, prepares for the forthcoming battle. The lines between friend and foe blur as alliances are tested, and the night draws closer to an uncertain climax. In the looming darkness, the stage is set for a confrontation that promises to redefine courage, loyalty, and the fate of those caught in the threads of the supernatural. Daigo cradles an injured man named Tatsu, who bravely insists he's fine. Tatsu tells Daigo, "You mustn't go," urging him to stay. But Daigo, steadfast in his resolve, assures Tatsu, "Just wait for me," gently laying him on the ground. Daigo's friend, Shu, tries to intervene, reminding him of the doctor's impending arrival. Yet Tatsu's plea ignites Daigo's determination to act. Expressing gratitude, Daigo claps Tatsu on the shoulder, directing him to wait a minute. Tatsu obliges, holding the shutter firmly as Daigo departs. Inside, Daigo retrieves 2 pieces of cloth and a makeshift shield before whispering reassurance to Tatsu, "Gen-san, are you all right?" Tatsu's voice wavers, "It's okay. If somebody is here, we've already been found out." As Daigo treads carefully, he overhears Gen's voice echoing through the darkness, "A weird bow and arrow got Yasuk." Trying to quell his guilt, Tatsu consoles Gen, reminding him not to bear the blame. Daigo interrupts, calling Gen to approach cautiously. Lighting a match, Daigo senses real as a grotesque scent permeates the air. "What the hell?" he mutters. The observation reveals a motionless chamber, void of any tangible life or sensory impressions. In disbelief, a single dim light highlights a grim circle of figures in the cryptic room. Turning their attention to the sprawled bodies, Daigo confronts a harrowing truth. Everyone at Nizuka's office has succumbed to an insidious fate. A haunting confirmation settles in, as Tatsu inquires, "So everyone from Nizuka's office, they're all?" Daigo shines his light on Nizuka's frozen lips, exposing ominous and bestial fangs. Yasuk and the others seem lost, trapped in this eerie tableau. "They've been taken, Nizuka is dead," declares Daigo with palpable relief upon seeing Takako unharmed. A chilling silence follows. Daigo questions, "What do we do?" Gen urges immediate departure, acknowledging, "We've just come here." The room remains ominous, unidentified voices rattle from within the confines, further consistent with the vampire's dread. Daigo, undeterred by the oppressive ambience, strides towards a macabre centerpiece. There's even a coffin, and a girl. His gaze locks on the girl in a nightgown sprawled lifelessly upon the coffin. "Akane-san," he gasps, embodying an acknowledgement preceded by shock. Racing to Akane's side, Gen agonizes as Akane's body twitches. Her fingers demurely snake around Gen's hefty wrist, clamping with inexplicable strength. "Oh." Jen cries, jarring as he attempts to withdraw her seemingly inert hand. A cane tenaciously clutches, pushing Jen's limits. Hold on, Tatsu. Let go. Jen pleads, only underscoring her formidable grasp. At this anguished juncture, Tatsu intervenes, separating a cane from her steely hold. Seizing her unconscious body, Daigo tenderly supports her. They inch toward a stone coffin near the room's edge. I'm sorry, murmurs Daigo as he positions a cane. As Daigo slides the coffin lid, a radiant gleam escapes. A crucifix. Daigo mumbles, contemplating in resignation. Suddenly, a voice from above intrudes, an ominous presence crashes into the scene, rocking the dusty floor. A hefty figure, draped in dark attire, emerges among the chaos. Daigo discerns the intruder's broad silhouette. My name is Renta, and I am the Count's servant, declares this stranger, claiming allegiance to a vampiric master. Renta's boasts conflict with his sneering demeanor, igniting Daigo's fierce disdain. Brandishing weapons, tension burgeons as Renta challenges Daigo. You should be honored, you merely quarrel with this lowly duke. Renta laughs. Daigo coolly retorts, refusing to indulge Renta's provocations. Their confrontation is disrupted by a sudden attack. Renta's knife slashes through the air, aiming a lethal strike. Bastard, shouts Tatsu, yet Renta effortlessly evades, turning Tatsu's blade aside. Daigo sees Tatsu fall, sprawled helplessly. This unexpected skirmish intensifies, ensuing a white-knuckled clash between Renta and Daigo. Daigo, armed with his Colt, reacts swiftly, positioning himself strategically. You damned vampire, he shouts, maintaining resolve despite Renta's now feral onslaught. Amidst the melee, Renta's ongoing jibes fuel Daigo's anger. Provocation leads to Renta's swift attack, narrowly avoiding Daigo's retaliatory gunfire. Tension spikes as each precarious second feels consequential, a bitter dance of life and death. Renta, grinning viciously, declares, you might just be an interesting opponent. But Daigo, undeterred by mere words, presses on. With calculated precision, he manages to clip Renta's hand, provoking further hysteria. In the ensuing chaos, Renta's boastful spirit withers, constraining himself amidst Daigo's calculating strategy. Disparity mounts as Renta realizes the advantage slipping from his grasp. Amid the tumultuous tempest within the chamber, Takako's unexpected emergence refocuses Daigo from the battle. Her bodily assassination presents a maelstrom of emotions. A crisp retort from Daigo, you came to see me, he introduces a brew of combativeness and reluctant familiarity. Takako ensues with a confession, a heart's whisper that surprises Daigo, casting a tangible tranquility amid the frenetic echoes. Her wistful presence captures Daigo's wavering heart, yet earthbound reality invades as Daigo acknowledges Takako's grievous loss to vampirism. With impending confrontation, malicious shadows of Renta's kindred creep into light, the alluring seduction of blood, unyielding ambition for dominion, converge unsettlingly. Let me drink, Takako pleads, embodying the vampire's insatiable hunger. Daigo's poignant confrontation with Takako renders a fresh layer of dread. Allegiances blur, human and beast interweave amid uncanny circumstances. The bone-chilling declaration of an impending exodus conjures gripping stakes. Yet, Daigo resolves amidst this horror, orchestrating his stand against Renta's malevolence. Tension escalates as the moonlight punctuates a somber reckoning. In that instant, amid the rippling shadows of uncertainty, the shutters collapse, cascading further demise. The ensuing dialogue is frenetic. Renta's unwavering loyalty to the Count presents a fresh dilemma. Count Dracula's influence shapes Daigo's perception of the looming vampiric threat. Daigo's defiance solidifies, securing a lifeline for Chizuru by escorting her to safety. Amid this sinister ballet, the atmosphere is electric, each move echoing a ruthless melody of survival. Promises and sinister resolutions shift fluidly, redefining this circle of life and death, a chilling pact orchestrated by the night's omniscient composer. A tense scene unfolds as Renta finds himself facing the formidable Count Dracula, who calmly taunts him. Look at what you have wrought, Jigoro says to Dracula, questioning his motives and the tragic path he's chosen. The weight of Dracula's actions bears heavily in the air, a quiet admission of evil that lingers, unresolved. Amidst this charged atmosphere, a deadly calm pervades as Count Dracula looks at Renta, dismissing his challenge as foolish. But Renta stands determined, undeterred by Dracula's ominous presence. As Dracula moves with fearsome grace, Renta commands urgently, "Come and get me." This challenge marks the beginning of a fierce dance as an intense battle unfolds. Renta, with sword in hand, charges at Dracula, trying to close the distance. The Count parries, forcing Renta to leap back, and they circle each other, each trying to gain the upper hand. Despite Renta's skills, Dracula remains a step ahead, his movements quick and sure. As the battle progresses, Jigoro instructs his apprentice, Shiro, who is torn between joining the fight and following the master's advice to abstain. Tension mounts as Shiro, ignoring fear and uncertainty, takes a defiant stance against the vampire. A breathtaking exchange ensues, Shiro's natural agility pitted against Dracula's supernatural prowess. With fierce determination, Shiro lands a powerful strike. However, his courage soon meets a brutal reality, even seasoned warriors would fall to Dracula's might. Renta, meanwhile, fights valiantly but is severely wounded, blood pouring from his chest. So this is the end, he thinks, accepting his fate yet longing to have a loved one by his side in his last moments. His sacrifice swells with emotion as he pleads for forgiveness and understanding. Count Dracula watches with a preternatural detachment, acknowledging Renta's bravery but deeming him unworthy, a commoner. Jigoro, fueled by anger and a thirst for justice, discards his coat, ready to challenge the Count himself. The resolve in Jigoro's eye speaks of a lifetime of discipline and a refusal to yield to despair. Yet, despite the stakes, the Count invites another kind of duel, a challenge of ideals rather than violence. Dracula's words cut deep, this is the endgame at last. He tempts Jigoro, exploiting his pride and their differences. However, Jigoro's spirit remains unbroken, driven not by Dracula's provocations but by an unwavering pursuit of honor. As all seems poised on the razor's edge of action, Daigo's voice pierces the tension, commanding Shiro not to fight alone. His words, an echo of concern and steadfast resolve, help Shiro ground his trembling, conflicted heart. The two stand united, a juxtaposition of fierce loyalty against an ancient evil. In the silent test of wills, it becomes clear that loyalty and courage remain the key tenets against Dracula's menace. The quiet weight of the moment is disrupted as Shiro launches into action. His strike, a testament to both training and spirit, lacks the deadly impact needed. Yet it symbolizes the unyielding resistance of the living against the seduction of darkness. Even as Shiro is forced out of the fight, physically thrown by supernatural strength, the Count admires the youth's resolve. He senses strength but also remarks on Shiro's struggle within a demon's, insightfully probing beneath the surface. The battle shifts from external to internal as Dracula attempts to sway Daigo, offering eternal life, a tempting proposition veiled in darkness. Daigo, struggling with his ailment, resists, "I won't become a vampire, like you." It is a defining moment, his resolve echoing the unyielding beat of human spirit against temptation. As confrontation continues and the threat looms large, shadows appear, hideous guardians crawling from darkness, seeking to enforce Dracula's will. Shiro, his spirit far from broken, stands ready beside Daigo. Together, they face the horror of the supernatural with an indomitable will to protect not just their own lives but the soul of humanity itself. The struggle spills onto the dramatic stage set by Tokyo Bay. In the pre-dawn hours, Jigoro and Shiro prepare for a final confrontation, determined to stand together in the fight against the dark tide. Dracula appears, timeless yet bound by human desires, holding Chizuru in his grasp. His arrogant confidence oozes into the cold night, each word measured to manipulate and dominate. Daigo steps forward, his mortality a paradox against Dracula's immortality. Yet, he chooses humanity. "I am human." Each word costs him dearly, but they carry with them the dignity and worth of enduring life. In the moment of truth, Daigo faces his end with courage, knowing the eternity offered by the Count comes at too great a cost. The Count stands silent, unresolved as he watches Daigo's defiance, the element stirring with finality. Daigo resists, not with force but profound conviction, revealing the kind of strength that cannot be measured in physical might. As dawn's light starts to rise, an understanding settles between them, adversaries bound by the quiet understanding that belief and ideals stand as indomitable as any force. This confrontation becomes less about life and death and more about legacy and choice. In a final act of defiance, Daigo bids the Count a knowing farewell, turning toward the human realm as he leaves Dracula, along with the dark promises, behind. His choice, a beacon against the night, demonstrates the irrevocable power of human will and the eternal struggle against darkness. As the first light of day breaks, the narrative draws to an end, encapsulating the essence of battles fought not only with sword and sinew but with heart and soul. This tale reinforces the eternal message that in the battle between light and dark, our choices define us, the scales balanced by the intricacies of our human heart.